What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk on the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers, your playoff-bound Packers podcast, a proud partner of the Eurostep Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. Exuberantly, I am your host, Numac, and joining me to celebrate the Packers returning to the playoffs by beating the Chicago Bears, just like knew they were going to do all along, is my trusty co-host, Jordan Trusky. Jordan, how the hell are you doing, buddy? Oh, you are
I am
muted.
muted. That's why I am muted. You can't take me down. The FCC can't take me down right now.
Oh, it's so good. I'm yelling. I'm freaking out. I'm so happy.
I don't know. I don't know if everybody knows right now, but the Green Bay Packers made the NFL playoffs by beating the Chicago Bears. Does anybody know that?
Does anybody know that?
Does anybody know that? Does
Anybody?
anybody care?
Anybody care? Possibly? Any carers in the chat? That the Green Bay Packers are, I think, they won their last 10 or 12 at least against the Chicago Bears and made the playoffs again. Made the playoffs
Yep.
again. A lovely, absolutely lovely, albeit stressful at times, but a 17-9 victory over the Chicago Bears, in which the Packers defense played well for the most part, but I think the story without a doubt is Jordan Love. Without a doubt, Jordan Love, 27 to 32, 5 incompletions is bonkers. Jordan, bonkers.
Second highest, I believe the broadcast has second highest completion percentage by a Packer quarterback since 1984. Can only imagine if that was either Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. You know, these great quarterbacks that the Packers just produced like cows in Wisconsin.
That's right. That's right. 27 32, 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, an average of 10 yards a throw is actually kind of crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. And so, okay, let's be honest. You're correct. This is a stressful game. A very entertaining and high producing, like there was a lot of action here, even if it didn't translate into scores.
Mm-hmm.
Like this did not reflect in a 17-9 victory.
No.
That more so was a reflection on the Packers doing a couple things to kind of make things tighter than they had to be. But this was, I would say, a more if if they had executed better, this would have been a convincing way to go into the playoffs. It was still convincing enough, judging by Jordan Love just getting everything he wants. And honestly, like you look at the stat line, the two things I would say just on the surface level, just watching it and not having any like replay. There was obviously the fumble off the sneak, even though he already had the first down.
Yep.
So you're just like, yes, and there's like, no, it's like just going crazy. The other one was the touchdown pass attempt to Malik Heath, who made a great heads up play to bat the ball into the defender, and he had no chance of getting that into an interception at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
But outside of those two miscues, this is the kind of game that like we have seen from him the last half of the season. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but that it was putting everything together. My biggest worry for him is that this is his biggest performance to date. Everybody's watching you. All you have to do is win this game. You have to lead the Green Bay Packers to win this game. You could play like crap,
Yep.
but if you win the game, everyone's like, you just got the Packers to the playoffs where no one thought that was possible. Now, he did it through in flying colors. Like, it's insane to me just how great he was. And credit to the playmakers that he was hitting down the stretch. But a lot of the things that we have knocked Jordan Love for throughout the year, even as he has progressed and gotten better,
Mm-hmm.
he was making throws in tight windows that was like, it was like a knife going through butter. It's insane the amount of plays that like you just jump up and be like, yes, we got it. Like, Jane, I will keep going and going, but you take the reins here.
I mean, you're not wrong. That Bull Melton throw to the end zone was absolutely crazy. Like, Bull Melton doesn't come down with it, but that's an insane throw. And I think, like you said, just amazing decision making all around today. Besides those two little miscues that ended up not being as bad as it could have been, but for 31 passes and for 2 rushes, he was immaculate today. Like, it's the Packers, I think, for certainty, have found their next franchise quarterback. At least that's the vibes going in after this win, and now going to the playoffs to face the Dallas Cowboys. But that's for later in the pod. But oh man, I guess who else do you want to talk about first? Because I think we could talk about Jordan Love for a while. He made so many great throws. Like he looked so poised, making throws off his back foot, and just every time they got to third down, he seemed like he was making plays. Like there wasn't a whole lot of 3-and-out this game. I don't think they had one even, and it was just all offense all game long. It was fantastic to watch.
I'm looking at this right now too. 9.9 yards per throw. He's throwing first downs every freaking.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. That's insane to me. Yeah, like I don't know. We'll probably Jordan Love will probably be in and out of this conversation all throughout the pod. Aaron Jones, 3 straight 100-yard rushing games. I have tried to look. I don't subscribe to StatHead, StatMuse, Man, Scatman. But for me to see Aaron Jones make an impact late down the stretch, he was a huge reason why we won the last week. Good Lord. Why the Packers won the last 3 games of the season, kept their playoff hopes alive. I was there at the Tampa game where they just got demolished by Baker Mayfield, who backed their way in with a 9-0 win over the Panthers to win the NFC South, America's worst product since, I don't know, sliced bread. But Aaron Jones was really like, as much as Jordan Love made the wow plays and everything about that, Aaron Jones is like the metronome. Everything kept on schedule, giving him the ball. He was making great plays. It wasn't until like maybe that one, they were way backed up on like the 4, and he had like a negative yardage run play. Like that was the only time I could.
That was
really
the
think
only
of, like,
one.
And this is against the Bears defense, really good against run. Like I believe they were the best run defense in the league. Shockingly, because they have not been. It's been a tale of two defenses for them this year. But yeah, he just kept everything on track. He was making plays. Again, he doesn't see the end zone. I don't really care. Like,
I don't care at this point.
He made having Aaron Jones, like, we will get into the playoff possibilities as the week goes on and everything like that. But just having him gives them another dimension. And as I predicted, not to toot my own horn here, but they were very quick to kind of, hey, let's involve him in the passing game and just kind of keep their linebackers on their toes. That, yeah, everything that he did pretty much turned into gold. Green and gold.
Yeah.
If you might heard.
It was so good. We're going to be looping in tweets here throughout. So here's one from Andy Herman. DJ Moore, December 15th, 2023. Quote, DJ Moore insists the Bears are ready for their match against the Packers. Sorry, no, this was the quote. We're going to have something special for him. Less than 200 yards of offense was that something special. That's just
have fun drafting a new quarterback. Have fun.
That is right.
DJ Moore, play it again. Play the hits.
Play the hits. Sorry. If I had music hooked up, it wouldn't get demonetized. I'd put the banging on the drum stuff right there. Because that's going to be on repeat all night long. But, oh, God, like, just, you're so right about Aaron Jones that it was so certain the entire time. Like, he had just what seemed like an effortless time getting 5, 6, 7 yards today. And ends up with 20 carries, I believe 111 yards. Like, he just had really an all-around day. Like, really, really just good stuff for him. And like you had said, first time the Packers have went 3 back-to-back 100-yard rushers. I said in my tweet, since possibly the dinosaurs walked the earth. Like, that's just probably the last time it happened. I was requesting ESPN stats and info to get back to me, but I got a dial tone, so we'll see. But I mean, truly, like, we can't even think of when that last time that was happening, and part of that comes from having such a dynamic quarterback for 30 years. But I think this is a balanced offense, and what we sort of really were yearning for at the end of last year and throughout the entirety of the latter parts of the Rodgers era. Take some pressure off of Aaron Rodgers and get a run game going. Well, now that they are really coming to it and have a chance to run a good offense, they're really getting into it. Like, this team is clicking on all cylinders. Well, I don't think they had a single penalty today, Jordan. Not a single one. And that was like
they had the one penalty that they had was the Rashawn Gary offsides.
Yes, my apologies. That was halfway through the fourth quarter.
Halfway through the fourth quarter on a fourth down.
A critical one, but one, and even then they missed the false start on the left tackle on that one too. So we'll just call it a half penalty. But
Yeah,
remember, like week 3 when this was the bugaboo for the Packers, they just had so many penalties. They're shooting themselves in the foot for so long, and now they go through almost an entire game without a meaningful or without a penalty, and just played well in general. Like they just played so well, and the kids are playing, Jordan. The kids are playing.
they are. I know that they were talking plenty about on the broadcast about all the first year, second year guys that are producing. Um, Really, let's be honest here. Tonight kind of really put home the fact that Romeo Dobbs got left early. Hopefully he's all right.
Chest injury
Um,
after he had the drop in the end zone.
yes, a tough break and not the way that you want to see his season possibly end if he's not available next week.
Right.
Christian Watson obviously inactive too. This came down to Jada Reed, a second round pick, Dontavian
Speak on
Wicks,
it.
a fifth round pick this year, both from this year. Bo Melton, an undrafted practice squad guy that they just signed to the 53 man roster this week. Tucker Kraft, um, kind of I wouldn't say it was all on him, but he made the dagger play to kind of clinch everything. Aaron Jones was again developed in the passing game. To have your top three wide receivers be all, or two of them being rookies, and one being an undrafted guy that didn't see the field until week what? Maybe the Buccaneers game that he was active for.
I think so. Yeah.
Like that's not normal.
No.
That is how like how we talked about these great quarterbacks like Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady to an extent. Like they'll make wide receivers out of anybody. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
matter if it's a first round guy or if it's a guy who's on a practice squad bouncing around, doesn't really have a home yet. Jordan Love is doing that. Jordan Love is doing that. Everybody, and we had plenty of doubts throughout the year. We knew exactly what we were getting into, and you get into the rhythm of, oh, we have a first couple, emotional wins. Then you see the slide, you know what I mean? Google Dolls slide a little bit. And then um and then to see him struggle, and he wasn't the only reason why they were struggling,
Right.
but to see him put everything together, and then to have your season come down the line where everything went against you. You were in pole position to easily get into the playoffs if you wanted to. They took the
Ninety nine
hardest route.
percent. 99%
Yes.
sure if they
After
had
being
just
the
won out.
Chiefs.
Yep.
That was a month ago.
Yep.
And they win three straight games, and their best wide receivers are two rookies and an undrafted guy that was on a practice squad until this week. That's not normal. Why?
It's
Let's
great though. It's great
it's
though. Like
great.
it's oh, I'm so punchy.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. Uh,
I'm so, literally punchy. You're literally
literally
punchy
punchy.
right now.
Um, Another important bit of information we have to check out is Keyshawn Nixon just in the locker room. That's a vibe right now. I tell you what.
There's a vibe.
Matt LaFleur opening up his remarks. That was fun. I would agree wholeheartedly. And then, sorry, Ty, Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. He's about the right shit. Yeah, I would strong agree. Strong agree. I'm just so happy. Like to come from where we ended last year and how tumultuous last year was with the same slide that happened, the same exact end of season scenario, having to win and get into the playoffs and then losing, and then all of the drama that happened in the offseason. We won't litigate it again. But to now come into this season with expectations sort of at an all-time low of, hey, we'll just kind of see how it goes. We'll see how this season ends up. We'll see how Jordan Love plays out, see how the rookies play, and we'll just kind of take it for what it is, develop, and reassess in the offseason. To then having expectations get sort of really undercut during the slide, as you mentioned, to then rising up the mountain again during the winning streak and having a 99% chance to get in the playoffs should they win out against teams they absolutely should have beaten. Ride that roller coaster, lose to the Giants, lose to the Bucks, and then you win your last two against your division rivals, one on the road in a place where you historically have not been good. Don't
Yes.
don't talk about the quarterback part of it, and then at home against the biggest rival you have, NFL's biggest rivalry in the Bears, and it was almost storybook. You want to put it that way, but like I saw something on on the broadcast where the similarities between this season and last season were like literally mirrored. They were scoring the same amount of points as last season. They allowed the same amount of points, um, same record, like all the stuff, except they just flipped the script on how the game or how the season ended. Instead of
Yep.
losing and being heartbroken, they made the playoffs, and it's feels so good. It feels so good.
And honestly, too, like I don't want to be this guy, but I will.
Okay.
Um, but the when we were talking about this team going into the year, we probably admitted now, but we had the glass not half full, but it was like almost full. Like if everything breaks right, we thought this could be a playoff team. We looked at the NFC, we
Yep.
looked at all the teams that could fall out. I looked at the Giants being the sorry sack franchise that they are, and I said the Packers are going to take over their spot. They did, and also I also thought the Seahawks were going to go to the Super Bowl. So, one for two.
One for two.
Um, but we thought that would be the best case scenario if everything broke right. I don't know how. I think it will take a long time to really kind of understand how the Packers got here. And Jordan Love just getting better kind of is the biggest reason. Like he is the season. He was the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Hooba stank all the way to 11. But for me, like I again we went through so many different things. There were guys hurt left and right. We went through the injury report the other day
20 what?
and
25 20,
20 I
25
think there's
players.
21 guys,
Yeah, yeah.
21 guys that were at least like had some injury designation. They did not have Aaron Jones for nearly half the year, even in games that he was playing. Christian Watson, the guy that we thought was going to be the leading wide receiver, he's not. He was a non-factor outside of like 2 weeks, really.
Yep.
And yet it's still it comes down to the last game and they make the playoffs. Like the script to how the Packers somehow were a top five lottery team. I'm just always going to call it lottery, just basketball brain.
Yep.
The top five like lottery team at like week of the first third of the year
Yeah.
to
We were looking at Tankathon and mocks on PFF.
yes, we were like, yeah, okay,
Yep.
we haven't been used to this before, but we'll get used to it now,
Yep.
and it doesn't matter. Like they just the amount of like we're in, we're out, we're in, we're out, we're in, we're out. And to have it like go in a very kind of normal way, but again, it could have easily. I'm looking at like just the raw yardage. The Bears had 192 total yards today.
Yeah. It wasn't good.
4.2 yards per play. The Packers had 7.2 yards per play. Like I I think the one thing that I knew with their offense, like we talked a lot about the streak and how they're a different team. The thing for me with like Justin Fields is like he's not a revolutionary or that much different to what he was doing. It was just
Right.
that they're winning and
Pretty
playing bad
much.
teams.
Well, their defense got
You know what I mean?
significantly their defense got significantly better, and
Yes.
they played a schedule towards the end of the season that allowed them to have a chance to win some of those games. But like, I think one of the bigger things today is that Montez Sweat was almost a non-factor. Like he got through on that one Aaron Jones rush for negative yardage near the goal line, and that's what blew it up. But other than that, dude, I don't remember hearing his name called once. Like he was a non-factor. So shout out that line. Like Jordan Love was protected so well today. I remember him getting sacked once on like he got grabbed by like a single arm of a D tackle, and like
Yep.
other than that, it was just like he was standing up all day long.
Yep. Three tackles, two solo for Montez Sweat, one tackle for loss. Outside of them, Tony Romo and Jim Nance talking about the Tez effect, like it mattered. Um, he was really a non-factor. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is another performance where the offense is clicking on all cylinders. The run game and passing game are equally complementary to each other.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line did their job. Like they finished strong, even with all the injuries that they were facing too at various points in this year. So, yeah, the offense. I mean, I I am so overjoyed with just how things came together for that side of the ball for them.
Yeah, I think we have to move on to the new wide receiver one. The new wide receiver one. And that is Jaden
Who's
Reed.
that?
That
Who's
is
that?
Jaden Reed.
Oh,
4 catches, 112 yards. We can have the discussion about the real wide receiver one in like six
no, I
months.
think you're correct.
But 4 catches, 112 yards, the biggest one on the needed drive where they needed to go down and score and get some sort of points. 59 yards on a wonderful route and catch and run. Like just beautiful. I said post on Twitter. I posted in the Discord. What a great time to absolutely don this jersey. I got it yesterday. It's a beautiful jersey. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Breaking it in.
That's right. Bring it in. It's good luck now. Beat the Bears. But like 4 catches on 4 targets, not a single drop, and just again, beautiful, beautiful day from Jaden Reed, and shows that he doesn't need all the targets to be effective. If you take out his 59 yards, he still has 60 yards of offense on 3 catches. Like that's pretty efficient, and like you said, just it's so good to see these rookies um, compete and these rookies do so much to develop for the rest of the team. This is Jacob Morley with the tweet uh, just recently. Keep going back to the Jaden Reed quote after the Atlanta loss. Quote, let it build us, not break us. End quote. We were only beginning to learn what type of player slash leader he was at that point, but its secret's out now. Like, whew, that that's a fire quote in hindsight. Like, oh man, it just feels so good to have the leadership come from everybody and not sole individuals. Like this is a team that I think rallies around each other. We talked about that in the preview where Bo Melton said that Jordan Love has been hosting the film rooms at his house every Monday. Like this team, I think is pretty tightly woven, and that it really helped in a game like today where they weren't the most efficient on offense in general. Like they obviously left points on the board with the Anders missed kick and then the end of half kerfuffle and then the fumble, but like they never really got rattled. They just kept grinding away on offense and they kept at it until ultimately the clock hit zero and the Packers in the playoffs.
Yes, I thought he really his ability to make plays after the point of like catching, um, or the yak machine. I mean, that was on the big game breaking open play. That was how many yards was it?
Hit
70 something.
Jaden Reed's
It
59
was like
yards.
59 yards. That
Yeah,
felt like more.
it felt like more, but yeah, only 59.
Still like he just that's what he does. Like he is so it's not just like the fact that he's so like you can use him in so many different ways. It's that he's a real like for someone that's really kind of he's obviously small. He gets through guys and he like
Really
it
well.
doesn't matter if you get like contact on him right as he catches the ball. Like he can extend plays and obviously like when you have an open field like that and follow your blocker, you're gonna get there. But Jay Reed was spectacular. Dontavian Wicks again, that he is something.
Something to behold.
The first touchdown was insane. Like it's a red zone opportunity. It's a short yard, like super short yardage, play.
Mm-hmm.
You think that the Bears are going to pressure guys up. For him, it does not matter. He
Nope.
could just shake guys loose. He had his defender on skates, like going backwards, like that kind of like, I am not at all able to make a play on this throw, and that's just what he does. Like this is not normal to have for all the things that we have heard so many years. Oh, Aaron Rodgers has only thrown 4 touchdowns to first round picks or that were wide receivers or tight ends or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter with this team. And it's going to change over time. But I can't. The wide receivers that we were talking about, like leading this team. Christian Watson is a second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's not for a lack of talent that he's not playing or anything like that. Same with Romeo Dobbs, even though his hands. Can you catch a pass? Come on! Like I'm fired up about that play even more. But between Wicks and Reed, Bo Melton making plays, obviously he had the touchdown that was all over his body that he was just like trying to leverage in every single way. But those guys really carried them home down the stretch, and today was just so great, so great.
just really good vibes all around, all day long today. But yeah, Dontavian Wicks, like between him and Jaden Reed, that's a pretty solid 1-2. That's a pretty solid 1-2 headed into next year. Can't wait for him to see them continue to develop. Like Wicks just reminds me so much of every elite receiver and how he runs his routes and how good his footwork is. Like that's the kind of stuff that makes for a really good receiver is just his exact build and his exact like I guess way of playing the game essentially. Like it stands out a whole hell of a lot.
Yep.
Who else should we talk about on offense? Is there anybody else? Anybody else?
Oh, we gave out. I'll here. Actually, I missed this. I sent this to you earlier.
Bo B.
Uh,
Melton? Sorry.
Go Melton. You had your wicks burning with your candle, and it's melting right in front of my eyes because Bo Melton. Sorry. Courtesy of NFL Next Gen Stats, Jordan Love completed a career high plus 13.2% of his passes over expected in the Packers' Week 18 victory. He completed all 7 of his play action passes for 116 yards and a touchdown. He has thrown a league high 912 yards off of play action since Week 9. Week 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That's quite
good.
something.
He's quite something. Um, just presented without comment. That's all there is. I guess for
Yeah.
audio listeners, this is from Peter Bukowski. Jordan Love going over 4,000 yards in his first season against the Bears when a Chicago QB has never done that is pretty fun. As Peter recommends, 10 out of 10. I mean, I agree. Just just showing up that the Bears that they have no chance in ever drafting a quarterback that will lead them to 4,000 yards. Maybe it's Caleb Williams next season. Maybe they screw around and keep Justin Fields. Who knows? But all I know is that the
It
Bears.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. The Packers have
Nope.
a great quarterback. Is now again for what the almost 30th straight year. I think it is 30.
It's going over
It's
30.
it's 30 this year.
It's over 30 because Favre would have been 92.
92. I thought it was 94. So yeah, that's over 30.
Hmm. Yep.
Oh man, that is great. Alrighty, should we go talk about? Yep, I think I'll talk about the defense. Frankly, like
We got it.
I guess before we get to the defense, Bo Melton, great, awesome stuff. Like he really obviously shows up. Tucker Kraft, same thing. Some rookie moments, but that we'll let it we'll let it slide for this week. Hopefully, it gets better next year. Um, Luke Musgrave, I think, falls like 22 yards shy of breaking Baba Franks' all-time rookie tight end record for yards. Which, if he plays the last 6 weeks with a lacerated kidney, he probably breaks it. But obviously, better to not, better to be healthy than do that. Um, but yeah, just awesome stuff on the offense. Worth noting that besides Bo Melton, Aaron Jones was the only running back to get a touch today. Patrick Taylor didn't touch it, and neither did Emmanuel Wilson.
Makes
Which
sense.
it makes
I believe
sense.
I also saw career high touches for Aaron Jones today.
22, that sounds about right. I wouldn't be able
22,
to
and then
tell you
if
for
you pair that
certain.
with his 5 catches, so 27.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean
Yeah.
that tracks. That's a lot. That's a lot for, again, your best player on offense coming into the year. I'm with it.
Hmm.
Who do you want to talk about on offense or on defense? Because I
Oh my
think
God.
I think first and foremost we have to give all the props to the D line. They had 5 sacks today, which is
Yep.
absolutely crazy. I think I'm going to start with flowers being given to Preston Smith. He was getting home so often today and so often throughout the year. Like he was a steady force throughout the year to ensure that the pass rush was never totally just like gone. And I think it was in the third quarter when Quay and company got that sack that the reason they got it was Preston Smith tripped him up and made
Yep.
him stumble into that sack. If he doesn't trip
First
him up,
point of contact.
right. If he doesn't trip him up, he probably scrambles for a first down or some sort of yards. I'm really thrilled that he got to stick around after last season and continue to be the veteran that he is on defense. He doesn't actually register a sack, but 2 tackles and his presence was felt all day long.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll run through the guys that had sacks today, credited sacks. Quay Walker, Carl Brooks. We'll get into him later. Lucas Van Ness, Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt. Five guys that hit sacks. To your credit, like Preston Smith is not. He doesn't fall in this category. He was a huge reason why they had gotten all over Justin Fields,
Yep.
Bears offensive line that was really banged up going into the game. I
They
believe.
had
I
they had a
think,
guard
but
go out too. The Bears
yes, they
did.
did. Yeah. Um, between Preston Smith, Gary had some good plays, even with the off season or off season offsides call.
Yep.
Carl Brooks for me was the immediate impact. It
Oh
started on
yeah.
the opening drive. He sniffed out. Was it a Justin Fields like kind of scramble
I think
play?
it was. Yeah, I think I do know what you're referencing.
It was some kind of like RPO kind of thing, and he immediately
Yep.
jumped on it.
Yep. That's
It
a
was like
yep.
a shoestring tackle kind of thing. Then later in the game, gets a sack. I just think again, we know the talent that's up front. We know like if you put everything together, I think like everybody had a moment. Like
Mm-hmm.
again, between Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, guys that didn't have sacks, they were still creating enough pressure that like it didn't matter in my eyes.
No.
Lucas Van Ness came out of this game like a cannon. He was
Yep.
everywhere, and that was
I think
huge.
he registered the first sack. I think he was the first one to get home.
Yes, he was huge in setting the tone. Carl Brooks combined with that too. Devontae Wyatt, really heck of a game from him.
Oh, I was so happy.
Kenny Clark came up with a big sack. Even King, like JJ Anigbari, that guy is a really good run defender.
Mm-hmm.
And out of
Mm-hmm.
like all the all of the edge rushers that they have, like Lucas Van Ness, like may I don't think there's enough tape to say like he's not doing it. When it's
Right.
Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, he's just not as like fast as or explosive as the other edge rushers. JJ Anigbari, that he knows how to get guys down and get there like really fast. He's not blowing contain.
Yep.
Been really impressed with him. Like he just kind of falls in the cracks based on the other guys, elevating themselves. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everybody on the front really had a moment today, and that's all they needed to really disrupt this Bears team and hold them to three field goals.
Yeah, it was absolutely great. Like I seeing Devontae Wyatt swallow up Justin Fields immediately, like early on in the game, I should say, was great. Just he has really like come on the last like 6 7 weeks. It was awesome
Mm-hmm.
just to see him like finally get home and get a sack. Um, Kelp in the chat, absolutely, they lived in the backfield. It lived in the backfield.
I think the final count was 10 negative plays for the Bears.
Jesus, oh my
Like
word.
I mean, we could count it up too with tackles for loss. I see one,
Yeah, it is 10.
three,
Yeah, it
four,
is 10.
five, six, 10. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is insane. Oh my God.
Um, excuse me. I think it's definitely worth noting that every single player was getting in the backfield. Like there was absolute dominance across the way. And I'm gonna be curious about pressures from PFF tomorrow
Hmm.
or whenever they come out because I think there's gonna be a lot of them. Let me see how many times Justin Fields had 16 passing attempts, and I'll be curious as to how many of those he was pressured on because I'm pretty sure it was like 14 of them.
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely believe that.
Yeah, because he definitely escaped somewhere where he shouldn't have been being able to escape, but that's just his how he operates. He's really good at obviously escaping the pocket, and he did so. So, but yeah, you talked about it. Um, Preston Smith, like you said, JJ Anibari having a really good year. Run defending. I mean, they have something in Carl Brooks, man. I ought to look at his season stats. Like that's be something to behold here pretty quickly.
Two tackles, one sack, two tackles for loss. I think again it's added to the list of rookies or undrafted guys. The stat that's going around that everybody's seeing plenty is the fifth youngest playoff team since 1977, I believe. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's been so many moments where the Jaden Reeds, the Dontavian Wicks, especially as the season has evolved, those guys will get plenty of shine. But between those two, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, it was great to see him play again after having a lacerated kidney, and we acted like there was nothing, but he came back. Um, Lucas Van Ness, literally almost everybody that they drafted this year that was still on the team. So sorry, Lou Nichols and Grant DeBose, even though he got elevated from the practice squad today, but was inactive.
Right.
Everybody had a moment. Like again,
Mm-hmm.
and they're starting a round cornerback who was facing against DJ Moore. Carrington Valentine had a huge pass breakup to save a
Yep.
touchdown on
Absolutely.
Cole Kmet too.
Yep.
So like that, it's not going to always hold. Everybody's going to be on different paths
Yeah.
as their career unfolds. But for this one season to make the playoffs with however many guys that could go through that class, on top of Malik Heath, Bo Melton, uh, Ben Sims, even though he didn't really, he was, a
Right.
silent partner.
Right.
Um, Again, like that's a huge win. That's a huge win for for Brian Gutekunst especially, but just for the Packers as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Carl Brooks has 3 sacks on the year, 10 tackles. Colby Wooden has half a sack with 9 tackles, and Lucas Van Ness has 3 sacks with 22 tackles. So if you think about it as a guy, or as 3 guys who weren't going to be starting, and as a group of guys who were going to be mixed in throughout the year, because across the line you had Kenny Clark, T.J. Slayton, and Devontae Wyatt fixing their as fixed options across the line, and they would get mixed in due to injuries or due to just like rest plays and whatnot. That's pretty darn good. Like obviously they played, and it's like they had snaps where they didn't do anything. That's going to happen, but I mean 6.5 sacks from 3 rookie guys is pretty good on the season to go with your all pro, I guess, should be all pro edge rusher in Rashawn Gary and your veteran edge rusher in Preston Smith. Like, credit where credit is due. The pass rushing unit of this Packers defense was there all year long. Like,
Yep.
I harped on them plenty to get home more often than they did, but they had a lot of sacks this year, provided a lot of pressure. And so here's to hoping they can continue to develop on that and become a real force in the NFL, getting to quarterbacks and just making their lives absolute hell.
I'm gonna vamp for a second because I want to see how many sacks. I believe they had 5 in that Tampa game,
Mm-hmm.
but outside of that, like,
What are you looking for?
yeah, they tied their season high with the Tampa game with sacks there.
Got it.
So yeah, like to your point, we know what this team is capable of up front on the edge. Even Quay Walker, like the last couple of weeks of utilizing Quay Walker as a blitzer has been huge. Like just to like throw them off. Like that is the thing about Joe Barry is that he knows what can really disrupt opposing offenses. And we're talking about going against Nick Mullins and the Vikings versus Justin Fields and the Bears. Apparently, is a lot different than Bryce Young and the Panthers or Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. But if you utilize those things over time and utilize the skill sets of all these players, that is where they can really screw crap up. I just had to clean up my language there, but I think that for me is it's again it was such a collective performance that like
Yeah.
you can't single out one person because everybody just had their shine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just so good to see them all do their part, and they are only so young. They're just. John said it in the chat, but no one's working anymore at this point. People are showing you if they have it or not, and a lot of these
Yep.
guys have it. A lot of these guys have it. Again, presented. Oop, I'm on the wrong tab here, but presented without comment. Can barely see it, but oop, you can't even see it. Since 1992, the Packers are 50-15 against the Bears. And just a little extra bit here.
There we go.
50-15, Jordan. Imagine having 65 chances, give or take, to beat your biggest rival in your entire existence. In over 30 years, 32 years now, you've only done it 15 times. I couldn't be
sad.
me. Couldn't be me, honestly. Could not be me. Um, yeah, but like you had aforementioned earlier, shout out to Carrington Valentine too. Like he had a really good end of the stretch of his season to lock up a lot of good receivers, and somehow, some way through it all, prove that he is probably capable of a starting cornerback position in the NFL. Grabbing these guys and just holding them down to pretty minuscule yards. I think like DJ Moore, I think had like 64-ish yards today. If I'm not mistaken, let me double check. Yeah, 64,
Yeah,
and
right on the money.
33 of that came from a failed handoff in zone from Jair to Quay. Like he had nothing
Yep.
even to do with it, and so it was just an awesome day. Just a great day by the defense in general, only holding them to 3 points or to 9 points, three field goals when they were in the red zone, plenty, to be frank. And so just just really good. And yeah, Ben said it too, better than Stokes at this point. Like Eric Stokes getting hurt sucks, and it stinks. And hopefully we know more about his injury and how that'll go for his future. But man alive, if Jair is around next year, and if Carrington Valentine will be, we'll have a pretty
Yep.
good corner there. Pretty good corner as he continues to develop. And shout out Goody for finding a guy and making him like even Corey Ballantyne too, like a guy you pull in camp and just turns up to be playing just fine, kind of similar to how Razul did, kind of similar to how Devondre Campbell did, and just finding these guys that are end of roster players through the rest of the NFL and somehow, some way making them into serviceable NFL players or just replacing level players to where they can be good in a pinch.
And I thought too, like Jair is kind of the. I was very worried about what we would see from him today. Wasn't exclusively on DJ Moore a lot of the time, but I believe had a one pass breakup in the end zone. I think it even should have been an interception. I think he was kicking himself for that too.
Absolutely was.
If he's playing more like that, where the Carolina game, obviously there are other things that stole the show with that, but he was just a net negative. Today was a net neutral, if not a net positive. Like that's all you want to see from him.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a lost season for him. He still has time to reclaim or rewrite how this story goes for this Packers team in his own way. So yeah, again, it evolved, or it trickled on beyond the front line and like Quay Walker. It was really good to see Devondre Campbell back out there too. I thought he did a decent game, had a decent game. Again, I don't think there's anybody that really kind of stood up for the wrong reasons. Jonathan Owens almost did
Yeah,
that late hit on a sliding Just Fields, who they had to take out of the game.
two
Get
two three plays later, mind you.
2 or 3 plays later, then comes back in after one play of Nathan Peterman, where I was like, that guy's gonna throw a pick. He's gonna throw a pick, isn't he? He's gonna throw it. He does. He does it all the time.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that was really dicey. I I would have. I mean, I would have understood if they had called that a flag, but
Oh yeah.
this is not a very penalized game to begin with, so
Yeah, they let him play.
they let him play.
Bouncing back and forth again. This is from Aaron Nagler, saying that LaFleur just said that Reed isn't part of the progression in this play. That was just Jordan being Jordan, he says. This is the play, the 59-yard catch where
The
Jaden
his
Reed was
best
up the sideline.
his
And
best throw of the game.
oh yeah, absolutely. And it was an absolute just drop in the bucket to Jaden Reed. And he wasn't even supposed to throw it there. He wasn't part of the play. Oh man, what
To
a
hold to hold the ball. I think that play is kind of the snapshot of how different things are with Jordan Love.
yes.
If he was wide, he's scrambling out. He knows where that route is going to go. He knows where that defender is going to sag off. He would have either thrown that right away, or it's how much touch do you put on the ball?
Right.
Like, is he throwing it to lead into him, or is it, that kind of thing? To see how that play is today
Yeah.
is just crazy good.
I
Crazy
think
good.
I like looking at the play. There was a guy going underneath Jaden Reed there, but I think that's just a great. I don't want to say play design, but a great play from Jaden Reed too to get open, even though he wasn't even part of the progression. Like that's a ball knower per se to
Ball
go
nowhere.
just to know that if the play is coming this way, like it was clearly a play designed to the left. Why not get open if you're going to be over there? And he did exactly that. So man, that just a cool play in general. Just a really cool play. But like Quay had a good day too. He was all over the place. He had a sack. Um, couple tackles as well. They had like they're like kind of spying um, Justin Fields all day. I will say, and I hate to do this, simply hate to do this. Joe Barry schemed up a good defensive plan today, rushing five and blocking all the holes for Justin Fields to escape to. Because if you limit Justin Fields' ability to escape the pocket and to scramble for yards and keep plays alive, you really limit his offense, and that's exactly what we saw. 11 for 16. I gotta get back to the actual box score. 11 for 16, 148 yards throwing, and he only had 27 yards on the ground. Like that's just holding their quarterback to his absolute limit. Like that's just kind of the average we've seen Justin Fields play against the Bears for. So, man, like the defense, I've I'm not excited to see how this season ends regarding Joe Barry because it's trending the wrong way. But you have to give credit where credit is due. And the last 2 weeks, he had schemed up a pretty good defense against the Vikings and the Bears. But I will say, we talked about this before. Joe Barry seemingly does amazing against his in division opponents and horrendous against everybody else. So take that with a grain of salt, Matt LaFleur. I beg of you.
Um, third fewest rushing yards for Justin Fields this year in a game. Not for nothing.
Happy by
I
me.
think that, yes, exactly. I think again, Joe Barry could easily everybody's waiting for the epitaph to be written, the obituary of his time in Green Bay. I don't think I think if they go out against Dallas and the defense looks incredibly putrid, I think we know how the story's going to end. The thing that is always going to be frustrating, no matter what continues, if he's here beyond this year or not, it's that they have had moments to do this. They've to the necessity is the mother of invention or reinvention, whatever you want to call it, to just do things differently, game plan it up. And again, this is a young team. How they game plan, we don't know. We won't know until the actual game unfolds. But for those guys to enact the game plan and play to their strengths and play to the best of their abilities, it can all go away as we've seen. To me, what is frustrating is that again, they have played playoff games the last couple of weeks to get to the point where they are now in the playoffs. And it took Joe Barry to one survive the onslaught of the Carolina Panthers, who did not score a single touchdown since playing the Packers
God,
close
I
out the
hate
year.
that. I hate that
Yes.
so much.
So that's the thing. So you have that, but then you also have you blanked pretty much the Vikings against two quarterbacks for them, and then Justin Fields. Like we know the level of quarterbacks that they have faced all year long. Tommy DeVito almost broke this team. Tommy DeVito. I will never forget that name. And I want you to not forget that either. But that's why I think everything is still like we can credit Joe Barry for everything he schemed up throughout the last couple of weeks. It still might not make a difference. But at this
No,
point, I don't really care.
no. I think it.
I probably will care if they bounce out against Dallas and we know immediately that he's going to be retained or not or extended because technically his contract is out,
You're
so
right.
it'd have to be
He had to be
renegotiated in
rehired.
some way.
Right.
Yes. So yeah, that's a problem for another time. But
Exactly.
he did his job the last couple of weeks, and credit to him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all we could ask for is that he didn't see the writing on the wall, and that he just kept putting together good game plans to get us to the playoffs. Honestly, and again, credit where credit is due. He did exactly that.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm so amped. I'm so happy. My prediction from the beginning of the year that if we won one game and it was against the Bears and lost the rest of them, I'd be happy. Nope. We got even more than that. We beat them twice. We made the playoffs. Oh, just a wonderful game. Um, Sometime soon we'll have to talk about your boy because
No, let's do it.
he has to learn to hit from the middle of the field, like the middle range. Because
You've got to learn to hit from the left hash mark because I feel like any field goal that he's had there has been a
yeah,
danger zone.
danger zone, and it's just like if you can hit from close and hit from far, that's fine. But 9 times out of 10, you're just gonna have 35 to 50-yard field goals. Not everything is gonna be 60. Not everything is gonna be 20. Especially with Matt LaFleur at the helm, calling plays and making the decision whether to go for it on fourth down or not. And so, a fine rookie year. He missed a lot of those extra points and some of those chip shots from 40 that you think would be surely automatic in today's NFL. But hopefully he can continue to develop in the offseason once that time comes because he's still got to make some kicks next week in Dallas, and leaving points on the table against this Cowboys offense will be a mistake.
Yes. My biggest worry, and it was kind of coming to fruition, was the Packers were leaving points on the table. Anders Carlson obviously contributed to that by missing the field goal on the open.
Oop, Mike, you cut out. I don't know what happened.
He was not the person I was most infuriated with on that drive. Romeo Dobbs just catch the ball. It solves itself.
Yeah,
Um, but my biggest worry as this game progressed was okay, the offense isn't getting the end zone, or they're not separating themselves enough to the Bears are in the game theoretically. And we kind of saw it happen where, okay, it's 14-9. You just want to put points on the board.
right.
And they get down, I believe, I forget, it was definitely in the red zone. They don't punch it. Oh, it was the Bo Melton
Yep,
non-touchdown.
yep,
And I'm just thinking, I'm looking at Anders Carlson lineup for, I believe, is like a 25-yard field goal.
yeah.
Like, that's not even a field goal.
No.
That's not even an extra point. And I'm just like, this could really go badly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And credit to him for making it. I know people won't give him credit for making a 25-yard field goal, but that is he can definitely get better, but I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily you don't want him to be the featured role,
right.
but the offense kind of put him in a position where hey, you have to make these kicks, and 1 for 2 ain't bad. I guess it's actually pretty bad.
I mean, you're gonna say 2 out of 3 ain't bad and channel your inner meatloaf. Is that how that's gonna go?
I was trying to make that,
We almost got there. We almost got
yeah,
there. Um, but
like a
yeah,
bat out of hell.
um, I think this is a very funny Jaden Reed thing. Like it's all this great vibes right now. Um, Jaden Reed on his 59-yard catch and run in the fourth quarter. Quote, I felt slow in that play. End quote. Reed said he did 10 push-ups when he got back to the sideline because he felt he got caught and didn't score. Oh, it's just good. It's just good vibes all around, man. All right. Anything else besides just fist pumping in the playoffs, baby? That's all. That's all we're looking at right now.
This is all I wanted. Like we will be in. We want to see the Packers win,
Mm-hmm.
but the playoffs, like it's never been easier to make the playoffs,
Yep.
especially the NFC where it's a lot of parity, it's a lot of jumble. The NFC South should be relegated from this entire picture.
The what?
Arthur Smith, the NFC South.
I thought you said AFC. Sorry. Yeah, the NFC South.
No, no, no. The Arthur Smith went out with a bang. If he's no longer the coach of the Falcons,
I
that
did.
hard ass
I did see
Nepo
that he.
baby.
I did see that he had some exchange of words with Dennis Allen.
Yes, he
Which
did. Yes, he did.
I mean, lose with some grace, but yeah, maybe FedEx can ship all of his stuff for free back to his house from
Ex-
the Falcons stadium.
Exactly. But the playoffs were a checkpoint for this young Packers team to somehow exercise demons, and they faced a lot of criticism. We targeted it, probably everybody on the roster at some point
Mm-hmm.
especially when things are really doom and gloom, 2-6, and or 2-5, whatever it was. It was not great.
Yeah, I think it
Um,
was 2-6.
and again, this it they there's a lot of problems that are to be solved as things get better and better. Like the standard that you have to meet gets higher and higher, and expectations grow and grow, and that's not easy. But we all knew coming into this year, whether we wanted them to win or not, at various points of the year, is that this is a fun, free flowing. It's never going to be more fun and like loose than it is right now in this
Oh
moment
yeah.
where the Packers are so young, they don't know anything else but to play. And there's a lot of things that these guys can get better with time and as they get more experience. But to make the playoffs in this first year of really of a rebuild, as much as that was a controversy, like however many months ago that was during the offseason, that's an insane achievement all across the board to everybody, both players, coaches, Brian Gutekunst, front office, Mark Murphy up in there, Curly Lamba wherever he is in heaven. It's just so great that the Packers did this in with everything targeted towards them because it's been a long time coming, especially for Jordan Love. I've seen a lot of people talking about draft night and the decision to even draft him in the first place.
Yep.
Tonight doesn't necessarily vindicate that,
No.
I would say, because that is what it is with drafting a quarterback for that's an heir apparent to arguably the greatest Packer of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel really, really good that no, this is how we thought it would be. This is how we thought it would be. And it's not I have always looked at that decision as a net positive for you're never look at all the other teams in your division alone
Mm-hmm.
that have had so much instability at the quarterback position that have changed over guys. We can even look at this year. This year, the
Yeah.
Vikings had so many freaking
They
quarterbacks
started four
that they
quarterbacks.
they started four quarterbacks. They drafted one of them this year. They traded and have extended Kirk Cousins, who's obviously their best option, and got better. Like as much as he attracts jokes, he's not the best quarterback.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a plan. They put it into place eventually, and they reap the rewards. That is sowing and reaping.
We love to see it. We truly love to
Yes,
see
we
it.
do.
But I'm right there with you. Like it really is to bring it full circle from how we started the pod. Just the expectations of wanting to see how this season went. Basically, this season being gravy. Are they good? Are they not? Is Jordan Love the quarterback of the future? Is he not? Like, how does Aaron Jones continue to age? Like, do Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs make leaps? Like, how do the rookies uh, develop? Like, we saw answers to a lot of those questions. And for almost all of them, they were all positive. And it was just such an uplifting last stretch of the season, despite the frustrating losses to um, the Giants and the Buccaneers. It was just really a roller coaster of a year that was fun to follow along with, right? Like we had fun this
Yes.
season, and we're still having fun as we go into the playoffs. Um, just watching this team play and compete, like there was so many times where they should have won the game. Like there's what the Falcons game, they should have won the Steelers game, they should have won the Giants game, they should have won the Bucks game. They were all close. No, there was never really a big blowout loss that they had that they like besides like what the Lions was their only huge blowout that they for sure were meant to lose. And other than that, like even like the Raiders game, that wasn't close or that was close. But the Lions game was the only one that ever felt like out of reach from the get go.
Buccaneers, honestly, too, like that again, being at the game, like that fourth quarter, they were fighting for something, but it was still they lost by two scores.
Right. I don't know. It just feels so good to see this team reach its potential. I shouldn't say reach its potential. See its potential throughout the year and get to that place where they can mark a success. Like
Yep.
without a doubt, this is a successful season for the Green Bay Packers because it just is. They make the playoffs. They sneak into the seventh seed in the wild card, or they sneak into the wild card as the seventh seed, controlling their own destiny and doing what they couldn't do last year. So, looking ahead briefly, matchup against the Cowboys, who have been on a tear as of late, go into Dallas to face Big Mike McCarthy and the boys. We'll see. Like, does the lineage of Packers quarterbacks continue to Jordan Love as guys who also own the Cowboys? Because if there's I guess if there's two things that is known for in opponents, I guess arguments, that he beats the Bears, is that he beats the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And the Packers as of late too. Like I can't remember the last time the Packers lost to the Cowboys. Like it had to have been pre
Ooh.
Matt Flynn comeback season, and I don't know when the last time that was because you had You had that Matt Flynn game. Then you had that same season, I believe, was Dez caught it, but didn't. I think that was that game. And then Packers went down, I think, in the playoffs a different time and beat them, as Mason Crosby hit the last second field goal.
2016 was 30-16 Cowboys. It was the same season that the Packers eventually won against the Cowboys in AT&T Stadium.
Mm,
The Jared Cook throw.
gotcha. So I
That
missed
one.
that. I missed that regular season game. Or not missed it, but
Yes.
forgot about it. Regardless, it's been successful against the Cowboys. So we'll see. We'll have all of that information for you on Thursday in that preview pod, though. Before we do outros, Jordan, anything else, buddy?
I'm just very happy. I'm very happy. Again, things will change as the week goes on, but this alone is a celebratory achievement for this Packers team.
Yep.
It has eventually turned into one of the more fun Packer seasons that I can remember, as much as it has been frustrating. Um, we knew that there was something good within this team, and eventually it showed itself. Obviously, in the biggest way possible by the heir apparent becoming the starting quarterback of the future. But again, this is to get to this point, especially given how the season was and everything that they faced, and not having your best players on a week to week basis, sometimes even during games, it didn't matter. They got there, and that alone is worthy to celebrate. Now, it could easily end in heartbreak. You don't want to have the ride end.
Right.
They get to play a fun role of being the spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
No one, all the pressure is on the Cowboys. All the pressure is on the Cowboys. Even Micah Parsons, I believe I saw a quote that he's done with lessons being learned. He wants to win. Micah
Right.
Parsons, I believe, is a second year pro,
I think he's third, but yeah.
third. He's on his rookie contract,
Yes, he is.
regardless of what it is. So he is alone setting the tone of Cowboys can't screw it up this time.
No.
You know what I mean? So now, with that in mind, and with this Packers team playing the best that they have, most consistently, Jordan Love, he's not just figuring things out. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now,
That's right.
and a good supporting cast of guys that can really disrupt the day. Dan Quinn is going to be a guy that will be on their mind for all this week, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll be very interested to see how this Packers team responds to be in the playoffs.
And you can find all of our thoughts on the Cowboys and yeah, on this channel. If you click that subscribe button right down below, we will release the episode on Friday, uh, before the game. It'll be exciting. Do we get a time for it yet, Jordan? Do you know?
We do not. I believe that is probably not going to come until
Oh, until the Bills
the
Dolphins game is done.
Bills Dolphins game is done.
That
And,
makes sense.
said,
That
yeah.
makes sense. So it might be on Thursday, depending on if the Packers play on Saturday or not. We will have to figure that out one way or the other. But you'll be getting a preview pod in this YouTube video feed, I guess. If you click the subscribe button down below, you can find us on Spotify or wherever you find your podcasts. Subscribe to us on Twitter, or I guess follow us on Twitter at Numac is known at Jordan Tresky. You can go to gspn.info to check out all of the Eurostep Podcast Network podcasts, including Bucks Brewers, obviously this one, and then Make Time for This, which is Adam and Andrew's movie podcast and pop culture podcast. So check that out there. Thanks again for everyone tuning in. Go Packers! Couldn't be
Go
happier
Packers!
to celebrate this win, and we'll talk to you guys soon.